welcome to another episode of Fun Friday.
I love Fridays. Fridays are fun.
Yes, and we bring you fun things to do with your family, not necessarily on Fridays, but Fridays are a good day to have fun.
They're a good day to bring some new info that you and your family can do to get geared up for the weekend and just to go out and have fun. So that's kind of the reminder. We all need that because sometimes I get down.
Yeah, you do.
And you gotta pick me up. And that was not a good pickup line, so that's okay. It's a good thing we're married.
This week, we're talking about one of my absolute favorite holiday traditions, and it's actually a family favorite, would you say?
It is a family favorite. We've been doing it for quite some time.
Yeah.
But with the holidays here, we are in the midst. It's Christmas, y'all. Christmas, December.
Yes, and
I almost wore my Christmas hat.
We should have.
We should have wore a Christmas hat next time.
Because if you don't know, we're on YouTube as well.
We
have options.
And I think I need next time to wear a Christmas hat. So we'll see if we can make that happen. But it falls into the theme of what we're talking about today, and that is Christmas lights.
Yes. I mean, if you think about like the Christmas movies, what is it, the Griswolds, where they decorate the house all like...
I still want to do that one day, just to say I did it.
One day. We barely even get any decorations out, so that's a big stretch, but one day. But we're not necessarily talking about you putting out your Christmas lights, but just to get that like visual of the things that you see when you're out there looking at Christmas lights. That's what this episode is going to be all about, is getting out there with your family and making it a tradition.
But we're going to give some added ideas to maybe take it a step up that you and your family can do to have some fun with Christmas lights this year. So y'all stay tuned. All right, Christmas lights.
Yes.
In the holiday season.
This is it reminds me of my childhood.
Why?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. Because I was going to say it anyways.
That was totally unscripted too.
It's
unscripted. Why?
Why? I know. I was like, whoa. When I was younger, we have family friends. They're not like actual family, but we consider them family. And when I was younger, I would go to my grandma's for the weekend. And one of the things that we would do during the holidays is we would drive over to our family friends and we would load into their van. At one point, it got to where we would have to take like 2 van loads. But we would load up in the van and we would just go driving around the town. Did you even know this about me?
No.
You know what family I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're probably,
The deal. Yeah. So our family friends, like that's what we would do. And so that continued into when I had children, before we even met. And then when we met, I mean, you probably looked at Christmas lights as well, right?
As you're saying that, and I don't think we've really ever talked about this because ever since we came together and married, it just became a thing that we did. But I think really that was following your tradition.
Oh, yeah. So you never knew why we did that.
Yeah, we never, growing up, I don't remember us really getting in the car and going and driving and looking at lights. I think we would from time to time, but it was never like a mandatory, we got to do this every year for us.
Or you could call that a tradition. You made it sound like torture.
No, definitely. It's just something that we didn't make a thing.
Okay.
Right? We didn't make that a part of us and our family dynamics.
Yeah.
And actually, that's one thing, I guess, as us being married, I never questions because I do enjoy it. We do have fun doing it because there's so many different lights out there, and today there are so many different light shows that a lot of homeowners now, they're putting up. You get to drive in front of their house, tune into a radio station, and it's going to music that that wasn't really a thing back growing up for us.
Yeah, it never was to that extreme.
Right.
Ever since I was younger, though, in the area that we live, we had this one little cul-de-sac that every single house had a different...
Fun word, cul-de-sac.
I always dreamed of living on a cul-de-sac. We live on a circle, so it's kind of. But anyways, there's this one cul-de-sac in the area that each house has a different country. And so you go, and it's nothing elaborate. It's like literally they take some boards and made it into like a cutout of the country and then something that goes along with it, and they have their house lined with lights.
Well, it's really cool. It's called like Around the World.
Yeah, Christmas Around the World. And so we would drive and we would read. It was the exact same thing every year, but we would do it every year, and my kids love it. They still request it, and they're young adults now. And so that like really what sparked it. And then along the way, you would just find random houses that looked pretty. But as the kids started to grow older and we did this tradition, there were like these two houses that had the music and set to the dial, and you would go listen to them, and that would be like the grand finale. But there was never really any kind of structure to it. And so then over the last couple years, I've just tried to beef up my Christmas light game by like doing a little research first and pulling in where are the houses that have the best lights or these light shows. And we have Facebook, so it's possible to look things up now.
Well, before you go into that,
yeah, I was getting too excited.
Before you get into that,
okay.
One thing we did, and we kind of learned as a family, is we can overload things. We can put so many things on our plates for the holidays that we have to do to where we're all feeling overwhelmed, we're all feeling stressed and things of that. And so we got to a point to where we asked each other, each family member, our kids, us, what's the one thing that you want to make sure we do as a family during the holidays?
Yeah.
And that was an important thing. So we went to each one and asked, including ourselves, and we all gave the one thing that we do that we love, that makes us think of Christmas as a family, that makes, what we do together special. Yeah. And so we made sure we at least did those. And everything else we could cut out. It's kind of like, oh, you didn't think that this was that important? They're like, no, really, we didn't. It's like, huh. Well, we just always did it. So
what? I've been busting my butt trying
to make sure we put this into our schedule. And so it was really a stress relief for us to make sure we do the important things and cut out all the unimportant stuff that nobody really even cares about. And it kind of freed us up over the holidays. Yeah. But the power in that was one of our kids said going and looking at lights. So that was kind of an important thing, right?
Well, not just one of the kids.
Well,
all of the kids. That was something that was important to them. So it was like, okay. Like, they really, like, honestly, like how you thought, you never really thought about why we went. And I never really thought about if they enjoyed it or not, because I enjoyed it so much that it was a tradition that I never really took in the fact of how much they enjoyed it. And that it was if you're gonna like work your schedule around one thing, that was one of the things. Like, the one thing they all enjoyed was that. So let's work our schedule around and try to make that happen for sure.
Christmas lights are very important for our family. So we figured that out by asking these questions. And so that's kind of why we thought, me growing up, that was never a thing that we did. And so, we didn't put that into our tradition. Yeah. So this is one thing that maybe a lot of families don't. And there's a lot of fun that you can have with your family by doing this. And as we did it, it just kind of got, I guess for me, it got old. Kind of like anything, if you do it over and over again, it's like, besides a White Christmas, watching that every year still never gets old. But so I don't know why, but just, I love
new
Bing
and fresh
Crosby.
every year.
It is.
But I'll say that's kind of how it morphed, because Christmas lights, the reason it does get old is because there's such a large gap between the houses of trying to find the ones to look at. And so part of it is the hunt to find a good street. And you're like, oh, wait, I saw some over there. And you drive over there and it was one house. And so that's where I really started looking into, okay, well, let's make sure that we are hitting the houses that have the best lights. Yeah. And so that is a possibility. Like, and even our city has started doing that, where they made a whole map of like people that decorated. They submitted it into like some sort of document. And so now you have this whole map of where to go in your community.
Well, now I'm going to give you a shout out though, because you did something a few years back before the city even did.
The city basically stole my idea.
She had created this Christmas light scavenger hunt that basically had that. Nick, it covered a couple cities here locally, and it hit all the hot places, and she made it a scavenger hunt type thing. So it was like this printout that you printed out, and it was a map to where you followed this, and it was a huge hit.
Yeah, I think because it hit the problem. I kept seeing on Facebook people saying, hey, what are the houses to look at? And I was one of those people asking. So then I just started collecting all of those houses, and me and one of the kids, like, and I think actually several kids, we did it on different bases, we would go and check and see if it was like something worth looking at. And then we mapped it out, okay, like what would be the smartest route so that we could do all of this under 2 hours. And it became like a really cool thing for our community. Yeah. Like we didn't even know our neighbors, like when we walk around our neighborhood, and they'd be like, "Hey, you're that girl that made the scavenger hunt for the lights." And I'm like, "Yes, actually I am." So,
dust off, the shirt.
But even with that, like I was teaching at the time, and so many of the teacher friends would be like, "My family had the best time this weekend." They had little kids, so she'd be like, we followed your guidance. You said to stop by and get hot chocolate somewhere, but we took it a little step further and we put on our pajamas first. So everybody showered up, got their pajamas on, and then loaded up, went and got some hot chocolate, and then started mapping it out. And they just loved it. The girls were entertained because they had a lot of young girls in their family. The girls were entertained the whole time because they were constantly either waiting and looking for something or looking at something really cool.
Hang on, we'll be right back.
It's time to have some more blended family fun. Yeah, are you ready?
What was that?
I've been really working on this song. What do you think?
Sure. It's great, babe.
Well, it goes along with how to enjoy your blended family. You know, the 5 dates to discover fun in your step family, the greatest thing since sliced bread for blended families.
Okay, I get it now. I feel your excitement, but why don't you tell them about it instead of singing it to them?
Wow, okay, shut me down. Why don't you? All right, let me try. When you have more fun together, you see less blended family drama. But we can get so caught up in life and problems that we miss out on really enjoying our family. So we'll walk you through 5 dates where you'll discover more fun your family loves and have a great plan to keep it going. How's that?
Pretty good. Short and sweet. I know that got them way more excited about all the fun possibilities they can experience with their family than your song did.
What? Seriously?
Well, you could have also told them that it not only creates more fun in their whole family doing this, but it also adds more fun in their marriage and gives them new ways to connect with their kids individually. It's also great for building that step-parent relationship. You could have said all that too.
I don't think you really appreciated all the work that I put in on that song.
Anyways, How to Enjoy Your Blended Family, 5 Dates to Discover Fun in Your Step Family is available for you today. Discover more fun and you'll see less problems. The link to get started is in the show notes of this episode.
Have more fun with your blended family and go on these 5 dates today. You'll be so glad you did. Yeah, yeah.
Really? You had to go there again. Let's get back to this episode.
Well, because you had a printout and everything, and so it made it fun. It made it engaging. So, in between houses, it was fun. It was a blast doing that. And then it wasn't maybe a couple years after that. I think you did that for like 2 years or something. And then after that, then the city comes out, and they came out with. Now the thing is that was great, but it was only to that city. The one that you had created was for multiple cities.
Yeah, and it wasn't mapped out exactly, so it was very like you could be driving around all over. I did like from start to finish, drive this route, and this is how you get there. You put it that I had the addresses like on there, and like.
So maybe this is something that you could create in your city, right? Wherever you're at. But it was something that was fun, but it took the Christmas lights up a level. Just going and looking to where you're getting out for a couple hours, and you might get lucky finding a few. This made it more specific to where you knew exactly where you were going, and it made it fun for the whole family. So that was something that, it's a blast. It's something for the holidays that gets you in the Christmas mood.
Yeah, you got to put that Christmas music on in the background, use your playlist or whatever. It does.
We did this one playlist. I'm just going to share this.
Okay.
We did this one, and it was John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and they came together and did a Christmas album, I don't know, many years back. But it was me and Scarlett. We loved it. It was just us because we love Grease. We love just that couple and that era, and so for us it was nostalgic, and we loved listening to it.
What?
Our kids hated it. It was like torture.
Like they're like hiding our CD, so we can't
They
pull it
did.
out.
They hid our CD and stuff. It got that bad, y'all. And so that's kind of a fun little thing we do now. We'll pop that in from time to time just to catch them off guard. They're like, "No, turn it off."
Yes, but now you don't have to buy a CD because you got
you got
Spotify,
streaming
any kind of
things and
streaming
everything.
devices to listen to your music.
But that was just a fun little different story, not a segue, but a different story that we had fun with as a family, and we still kind of laugh and joke on things like that. But
And before we get into other ways that you can watch Christmas lights or go look at Christmas lights, because around your neighborhood and your city is not the only place, but I did want to mention the printable scavenger hunt, and that we'll have here listed for you as well. So when we're talking about it, it's like two different things. There's the one that's local for our town if you live in Brazoria County that has its mapped out for you, but there's also
that's not going to work for you if you're not in Brazoria County.
obviously,
right?
unless you want to drive all the way to Texas and do this here. But there's also a scavenger hunt that I had created to go along with that so that your little ones had something to do and be anticipating along the way. So it's more generic of like it has a Santa Claus or a Grinch or a snowflake or reindeer, and it has pictures of those so that they can be looking for them along the way. And like
it's more like a checklist, like you're trying to check that off. And so that's a free downloadable that if you want to add that to your Christmas lights this year, you can print that out and it's free for you.
And that
So
gives them something
there.
tangible to be doing while you're looking at
While you're
well.
going from place to place. So it kind of keeps them engaged and still excited. So that is fun. So we're going to talk on a couple ways to do this, to maybe one up the Christmas lights this year. And then we're going to wrap it up. So cool. The one is you can do this together. Mm-hmm. You can do this as a family, which is what we've been talking about. But you can also do it as a couple or as a date night with one of your kids, maybe you and your stepkids or you and your biological kids. This is just a fun outing that
Yeah,
you
like
get to have
maybe
together.
when you do like this little questionnaire, like you ask them what's your favorite traditions, because we highly recommend doing that before the holiday starts. And everybody hates looking at Christmas lights, which I don't know why, you little Scrooges, but maybe everybody else hates it except you and one of the kids, or you and your spouse are the only one that find joy in that. Then maybe don't bring them along, and maybe they'll want it next year. I don't know, but plan it. Like we've been sitting at one before, and I see a couple, and they have like the back of their car raised or the back of the truck, and they're just sitting there cozy in a blanket. It's just them and their significant other watching the show. Because if you watch them, sometimes they last 15, 20 minutes.
Talking about the Christmas light show.
Yeah, that's like
that
to
some
music
homes can
and
do,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So
sure.
you can definitely make it a couple's date night like that, or a couple's like you and whatever kid actually enjoys it.
Yeah. So if you're, like she's saying, if some of your family hate it and that's not their thing, then don't drag the whole family and make them mad. I mean, just take the ones that want to do it, and then y'all go enjoy that time together. So those are ways that you can incorporate that into just your local or hitting a few cities and going and looking at Christmas lights, kind of like we've been talking about. Another way is by adding in a scavenger hunt Christmas light thing to it. So kind of something that we had created here. Maybe someone locally around your area has done that already. And so it could be like a Facebook. You're looking through Facebook or through social media, just seeing if anyone's created that. Maybe it's looking into your city website and seeing if they have something like that. Maybe they do. And this isn't something you've thought about even checking or Googling. So, it's trying to look at those to see if maybe someone already has these paths laid out. And then another thing is maybe if no one has or no one's ever done that and you're creative and that's your thing, maybe make that your thing for your city. And maybe that could be a fun thing that you and your family are trying to come up together with to create it. So, maybe that's a fun
And I mean, really,
idea
if
as
you're
well.
going to create it for yourself, why not share it? And that's how I did it. It was like I created it for myself, and I was like, hey, if anybody else wants this, I mapped it out. And everybody's like, heck yeah, we want that. So go ahead and use it in that way. Create it for you. It's really not that time consuming with social media the way it is and jotting those down. But then if nobody has lights around, or if that's not the route, like there's actually places that you can go that have lights for you. Like for us, we have our zoo puts on a whole zoo lights where you go and you're paying to get in, and then you get to just walk from beautiful display to beautiful display.
Yeah, for sure. So there are different places you can go, and that kind of led us to our third and last option at making Christmas lights a thing for you this year is find some place. Maybe you're around a big city. Maybe you're not. Maybe it's a smaller city, or maybe you got a festival that does things, So I was checking into things like that. Yeah. For us, our zoo has that. We have a place that is maybe about 2.5 hours away from our house that does a big Christmas light thing, So maybe it's you traveling and taking your family and doing that too. So checking around, just seeing what's local and what might be just a doable drive to where you're making that a thing this year. But going and looking at Christmas lights, it just puts you into a good holiday mood.
And I really didn't even realize till you were saying it in the beginning that it wasn't like, to me, this is one of those things like when we decided to talk about it on here, it's like, well, everybody already knows about Christmas lights. But to think like that you and your family, that just wasn't a tradition for you. Yeah. But it seems so normal for me. So that may be something for you that you're like, well, I didn't really even think about that before.
Yeah. Maybe you've never thought about it, or maybe it just hasn't been a thing for you that you try out with your family this year. So it really is fun. It gets you into a holiday spirit. It's something cool to look at. I mean, it's just lights and displays, and what's not cool about that, right? And so it really is. It's fun, and it's fun to see the different creative designs that people do in their homes. So let Christmas lights be a thing. Try it out this year if you haven't, or if you have, maybe one up this year and try to do some type of hunt or some type of challenge. So,
love it.
Awesome.
Love
so
it.
we do have that downloadable that you can print out if you'd like to check it out. It's free, so we're going to put that in the show notes to where to send you to the link to where you can grab that and then print that out and have that for your family. You keep the kids engaged. It's just a real simple checklist of just things to where they're looking for, you as a family are looking for, oh, we found one. All right. Maybe you tally it up at how many you saw. So you can make it yours, make it your family's, but add that to maybe your Christmas lights this year. And then just make it a thing. One of these ways that we've talked about doing, try it out this year. See what you like, what your family likes.
And you might have a new tradition.
You might have a new tradition that y'all love doing. So there it is. Right. Christmas lights, scavenger hunts, but making Christmas lights just a priority this year. Yeah. Maybe not a priority, but just a fun thing.
Well, make it a priority if your family wants it to be a priority.
There you go. And if your family never even thought about it and y'all haven't done it, then maybe you're saying, hey, y'all want to try this out? Let's try this out this year. And then seeing if you like it.
And you can get them on board when you add that hot chocolate in there, just saying.
So that is one thing. Say, we're running to the store, grabbing some hot chocolate, or maybe you don't do hot chocolate and you want a coffee. And then you go look at Christmas lights and have fun doing it. So, awesome. Christmas lights. Make it a thing. Enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to you and your family.
So we will see you later. Thanks for joining in on this Friday. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.